live today. Yes, I'm coming out a little bit late today because this is the time that I have the opportunity to do this today. So I believe it's better late than never. Better late than never. Okay, I think this is good. All right. Put some lights. Yep, this is good. Right. Hello, everyone. How you all doing? I'm glad to be here again today. And as you can see from the title of this video, we are talking about embracing yourself. Yes. Why is it that humans find it difficult to embrace themselves? Why is it that they tend to look outwards rather than looking inwards, looking at what is right before them? And when I'm talking about humans, myself inclusive, no one is exempted in this one. So, such topic or such experience doesn't just start. It's something that must have occurred over time, most likely from childhood, because that's when we start building up our personas. That's when we start becoming. And when this happens, for individuals, is a completely different experience. As people go through different experiences when it comes to how they are being brought up, and some childhood experiences are sometimes traumatic, depending on that experience. Some people's childhood experience is positive. They've been inculcated right from childhood the need for them to embrace themselves. However, for some, that's not the case. For some, the very people, and when I say people, inclusive of parents, cousins, close relatives, even people in authority, because there are some children who grew up in children homes. Even at that, they still go through bad experiences. Some children even get molested by their own parents. So these are people who children trust, who children look up to. I mean, you can imagine when you place your trust on a particular person, especially as a child, or the one in authority over that child, the one in a position of authority over that child. And it's that same person who ends up abusing the child. That same person who the child looks up to, who ends up molesting the child. That alone for any child is traumatic. Because when a child looks up to one, they just don't look up to one as the one who watches over them. But they do that because they feel protected or want to feel protected by that very person in authority over them. And so there's a bridge of trust here, which ends up being detrimental to that child's life experiences, which eventually affects that child's confidence and trust in any other human being that they come across later on in life. So that alone can be brutal and cause bruises on their confidence and their trust level for a lifetime if that same experience is not addressed and such a victim is brought into, goes through counseling, and such situation is brought into conclusion or closure. So these are few of the things that affect people, the type of experiences that they've gone through in life does affect how they see themselves, the confidence that they have in themselves, if they can trust themselves to trust other people because of their awful experiences. Yeah. And for some, it's not even a childhood experience that brutalizes their confidence in themselves or the level of them embracing themselves as they are. Sometimes it's society as well. The culture of that society takes the confidence off them, takes the fact from them that they have to embrace themselves the way they are and the way they have been created. There's so much pressure from society which brutalizes their confidence in themselves. And they carry this, such people carry, such experiences throughout life, which tend to affect the way they are able to, the level they are at which they are able to embrace themselves as they truly are. Yeah. And for some, again, it is the fact that when they were children, they actually had a fabulous childhood, but during their adulthood, something happened. Something happened to them. They had a bad experience, either being kidnapped, yes, some either being abused emotionally, psychologically, or physically by the one who they profess to love, or vice versa. For example, a couple, one being physically abusive over the other, can send a psychological trauma wave through their entire lifetime after that experience. So all this and much more contributes to the level at which people end up embracing themselves or not at all embracing themselves. Yeah. So it takes a while, if they eventually get there, for them to come back to terms, come back to embracing themselves, except for they experiencing an epiphany in their lifetime, or going through therapy, or just experiencing another level of spirituality in their lifetime. This is when they are able to start reflecting and being able to embrace themselves. So our life experiences in this world can either mar us as humans or make us to become better. Yeah, can make us to become better or mar us completely. I don't know why therapy or counseling is not encouraged. This is something that should be encouraged in society because of the different experiences that we go through. Life itself is challenging. Who goes through life without challenges? None. The most influential person in this world has challenges. The most wealthy person in this world have challenges, either psychologically or otherwise. Yeah. So none is exempted. And none can come forward to say, oh, I'm much better, or I'm superior. No. As we all have different experiences at different times. Because one is having or experiencing good times in their life at a particular moment, and at that same moment another human being is experiencing awful or traumatic time in their life, doesn't make the first more superior than the other, as that can be considered as a season. And season, as we all know, changes. For the other to be experiencing good times in their life does not exempt them from experiencing awful times in another season in their lives. Where a balance can come in is when the one who is having a good experience at that season in time can give strength to the other that is not experiencing a good time in their life at that moment in time. Yeah. So we are talking about today how to embrace yourself, or how to start embracing yourself. So you could look at this as counseling. Yeah, counseling from break age barriers. One, You must start. I wrote it down here, so I'm going to read it out. Let me see. Yeah. You must start reflecting on yourself. You must start a process of reflection. A process of reflection whereby you can look back in time at those childhood experiences or whatever experiences that has affected you tremendously, to the extent that you lost yourself. You lost the core essence of who you are. You begin to question yourself if you're good enough or not. So reflection is a good place to start, as it helps replay. It's like having a screen of yourself to watch yourself all over again, and then you can critically assess that situation and be able to understand where you can work on, where it seems you lost yourself, what you must have done to lose yourself or allowed to happen to you, whereby you end up losing yourself because you know that's not you, or that's not who you want to be. For example, I'll give you an example, and I'm using myself as an example right now. When I was much younger, I loved my natural hair when I was much younger, and I'm still blessed with a very good texture of hair. I love the teeny ringlets that I had on my hair, and whenever I go to visit the salon to blow dry my hair, I loved how the length of it. I loved how voluminous it was. I just loved it. But when I became a teenager, and there was so much competition amongst teenagers. When I say competition, with girls, we want to look pretty, we want to look a certain way, we want to meet up with the societal standard and so on. So that's the competition I'm talking about. So there was this pressure on most of us, not just me, to straighten our hair, because that was the societal beauty standard, which to me was revolting, because I didn't see anything special about straightening your hair. I didn't see anything special about it. However, my mom thought otherwise, because I'm from a very humble background. So she told me, because I said to her, I don't want to straighten my hair. I don't care if every other person is straightening their hair or whatnot. Then they might think because she cannot afford it, that's why I ended up not being able to straighten my hair. So I went along with it. I thought it made sense. I thought it was reasonable enough for me to do that. So I went along and I straightened my hair. And all through the time I straightened my hair, I never enjoyed it. I mean, I still love the texture, but because of how straight the hair was, I couldn't do anything with it. I couldn't, because it came too thin. But by the time I started doing that, that was it. I just went along with it until a certain time in my life, after I became married and had my own child, and I started reflecting, hey, I don't have to please anybody to be me. I like what I have, and I'm going to display what I have. That's what I've been given. So that was a type of reflection that I went through, that I'm talking about here. So I cut off my hair and I started regrowing my natural coily hair. And ever since, I've not looked back. Up to today, I have my natural hair. These are just braids, so my natural hair is in there. I take this off, my natural hair is there, because I love what I have. That's part, or one of the ways you can start embracing yourself. Reflection. Look within. Look at what you have. Don't start comparing yourself with every other person. You are unique. There's no other two person like you. You're unique. So yeah, the reflection. And my second point, I'm looking at my cue card now when I'm looking down, all right, to remind myself. My second point is always be curious about who you are. Don't wait for people to tell you this is how you are, this is who you are, this is what you should be, blah blah blah. Those are people's opinions. Who do you think you are? Look within first. Look within. Be curious. Ask yourself that question. Who am I? And how do you start getting to understand who you are? By asking questions. What are the things that you like? Where do you place your moral values? That's who you are. Look within. Don't be pressured to selling your soul. Don't be pressured by societal standard. It is when that curiosity takes you within yourself. First, reflection. Second, asking yourself, be curious. It's like, for example, I have a bottle of drink here. You have a bottle of drink and you're curious as to how this bottle was put together. Or, again, curious as to how the water got into the bottle. You look at it, reflect, research, ask questions, get answers to your questions to how this bottle was manufactured. That's what you do to yourself. That's how you get to start knowing who you are. When you take decisions to do certain things, ask yourself, why do I keep doing this? When you get easily triggered, ask yourself, what makes me to fall for this triggering? Ask yourself questions. You'll be amazed as to different answers you get to find out. it by yourself. It is when you get to that level of understanding of who you truly are, what makes you you, what makes blessing, then you start getting the level of validation for yourself first, and not waiting for others to validate you or tell you who you are. All right? And third, I'm going to be looking at my cue card again. Yeah. Let go, or learn to let go of what other people, of how other people see you. Let go of the things that you cannot control. There's just this much that you can put under your control. You can't control everything. No one can. So part of embracing yourself is when you're trying to be yourself, when you're trying to express yourself in this world that we find ourselves, and people are just there picking on you and throwing shades at you and judging you, you can't control their actions. You can only control yours. So the one you can control is you. How you react, how you take their unhealthy criticism, because that's not a constructive criticism. If it's constructive, it's meant to make you a better person. When it's non-constructive, let go, because this is who you are. If they can't take it, that's not your business. That's not your headache. It's their headache. So they should learn to control their emotions and let you do yours. Because of how people see you, which you know very well is wrong, is not correct, should not stop you from embracing who you are. No one is perfect. We are all trying to be better. We are all trying to find who we are. And when you begin to find who you are, and you can see your pros and your cons, what do? You embrace the pros. And the ones that you have to work on, you work on. When you know you're still learning, you're still in progression, which every other person is. You work on it, and don't let how or what people see you to stop you from embracing all of yourself. All right? How many minutes have I been on? Yeah, I'll end it here. Thank you very much for listening. As always, my name remains Blessing. I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye.